Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Northside Plow with Pop.1 Podcast, coming to you guys and talking about our newest sponsors, Dueling Guard. Yes, Dueling Guard, your one-stop shop for all your TCG accessories. They got the deck boxes, the play mats, the binders, and soon to come, card sleeves. Yes, they're doing it all, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, the quality of this stuff is out of this world. I really advise you guys to go check them out, and if you want to pick something up for your friends for the holidays, at checkout, make sure you use code POP1 for your 5% discount. That's code POP1, P-O-P, and the number 1. You get 5% off, and I'm going to tell you guys, walking around with this stuff, you're going to be the top of your locals. You're going to be the top of these big tournaments. You're going to really look nice. I'm looking at all this stuff. They just dropped their new 3 Captains Anime Art Cards Playmat and Deck Box combo. You want to go get that before it sells out. It is insane. Your favorite pirates on your favorite deck box. Gotta love it. Use code POP1 for your discount. That's again duelingguard.com. Very cool people. Down to earth owners too. Got to sit down and talk on the phone with those guys. I got a feeling this is going to be a really good journey. So you guys go check them out. Let's get back into the podcast.
Hello everyone. This is episode 8 of the Pop.1 podcast. I'm your host, Alexander Valito. What does it mean to be elite? In a game where accolades is everything, to be considered good at a local level, you must be able to top a regional. Considered great at a national level, you must be able to top a YCS. But to be able to be considered elite, you must be able to do something that very few people in this game have been able to accomplish: win a YCS. Believe it or not, there are players out there, when they prepare for an event, they know that they're going to make it into the playoffs, into the top cut of said tournament. So instead, they go ahead and build their deck to win that tournament. A lot of professional players or a lot of competitive players ask themselves, what separates these players from everyone else? Is it their testing? Is it their circle? Or is it something completely different? Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest. We have a player who won a YCS not once, not twice, but 5 times. He is one of 2 players in the history of this game to have been able to accomplish such a feat. Someone who is definitely able to be considered elite. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Christopher LeBlanc.
How's it going?
Going good, dude. So tell me, man, what got you into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, the very beginning, I was, I believe, 6 or 7 years old when the show came out. And I was watching the show, and I had seen like a commercial that they had like cards, like the actual cards at like Toys R Us. So that's where I went to like actually get the physical cards myself. And then I happened to go on a Saturday because that was like my one free day when I was like a kid to go do something like that. I happened to go to a Toys R Us that was doing like these, not really tournaments, but like instruction, like there were instructors like teaching people how to play the game, getting people into it. So it was kind of nice. So I started going to that every Saturday.
You got started like with the first star decks, like the Yu-Gi and Kaiba star decks?
Yes, yeah. My first structure deck was the Kaiba one, and I just remember like wanting to get Yu-Gi-Oh cards when I was a kid. I went with one of my friends, and then I wasn't able to, and then like I ended up going back and getting cards, which was cool. And then like just being exposed to that kind of like environment where like there was a bunch of people doing it, it was kind of comforting as well, because it wasn't just like, oh, like just me doing it, like there are kids at school that did it, but people kind of outgrew it.
Yeah, did you find that it was hard to find people that did it as you got a little older, closer to middle school?
Yeah, definitely. People were definitely looking at it as if you were like kind of like an outcast if you did it, or it wasn't really, like getting with the times as you get older. Like these people are getting into like other stuff. Like everyone's like shifting out of Pokemon to, especially when we got to high school. Like it definitely shifted out of everyone's like schedule. Like nobody really played. I was still like traveling. I had just started traveling to like major events too when I got to high school. So,
would you say that your original start started with the Toys R Us? At what point did you start going to locals?
That's actually where I found out about locals. So it was probably about my 4th or 5th time going to Toys R Us, where one of the employees at Toys R Us, he had also gone to this card store that was like about like 15 minutes from my house, and he told us like that they do tournaments. So I I went and checked it out. It was already like the tournament was already going on, but we just went and checked it out. Like played a little bit with some people, got some games in, and then like I realized I wanted to like go the next time and actually play in the tournament. So that's where I started out, and I didn't win my first tournament until it was a while. But I mean, I think I played my first SJC in 2005 before like I won my actual first like Yu-Gi-Oh local tournament.
So you won an SJC before locals?
No. I played in my first because I was only 8 when I played in that SJC. So I was not yeah. But I still like it's kind of weird to say though because like people have won locals before they go to major events, but it was so close to me, and it was because it was in Boston, so it was very close to go to like an SJC back then. Bobby Chambers won that one as well too, so it was a very notable moment for me because like I grew up like looking up to Bobby from that like point on, like seeing like him win. I think I got a BLS signed by him after he won the event, so it was kind of cool.
Remember that time, the whole Go format into Blackluster Soldier, you out of control. Those were just kind of the golden days of Yu-Gi-Oh, huh?
Yeah, it's nice that you can still like pick up an old deck and play like that.
Yeah, it's awesome
Yep.
that you can do that. So, kind of talking more about, your introduction into the game, tell us more about your journey as a player. How did you start becoming into like this incredible player that you are today, this elite player that everyone knows?
I think it definitely started when I was playing around different levels of players. Um, I was playing around like people like Joe Girolando, Stefan, um, Joe Bogley. I had all these people that went to my locals. I had fairly good locals as well, but I think that's really what got me into like the competitive nature of it. And they were going to all these events as well, so it's like seeing all these people do well at events, and then hearing about the events and then not being able to go to the events. I think that just created a lot of like FOMO for me. So I was there just like I wanted to go. So I was, one day I just asked. I was like, can we go to this event? And like obviously I'm a kid, so I can't really go to that many events. Have to sell stuff here and there to go. Like I remember winning my first YCS, and I literally sold my prize card just so I could be able to go to like another event for like me and my dad. So it definitely takes a lot like when you're younger to be able to go to all these events, and it might be easier now because there's a lot more people, and like people are willing to help out and make it happen for you, especially if you're a younger player in the community. That it might be more possible for you to like get the help now, but back then you were kind of just on your own. Like if you couldn't go, you couldn't go.
Absolutely. And back then, your dad was he like supportive with it? Did he take you to a lot of events?
Yeah, my dad at the beginning took me to a lot of events, and then I started going to events with Ben and Zach's the family. So that was nice as well because my dad obviously worked to an extent, so like I couldn't like travel around the country with him once I started getting older. So I kind of made that transition.
I'm sure those are still like great memories for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I still will always tell my dad when I do well at an event. I mean, like I remember I texted. I normally don't text him until I get to like top 8 or top 4 of YCS. Like he'll ask me like how I did after day 1. I'll tell him, but then I'll message him like I'm in top 8. Like, and then he won't respond until like I either say like I won the event or not because he already knows. It's like that's what I'm going for.
I'm sure he watches all the streams that you're on, huh?
He does not actually. He's not very
Really?
technologically advanced, but it's fine because at the same time, like I sit there, I send him all the pictures that we get. I tell him like about all the trips because we're going to different countries like every week, so it's a lot. It became a lot more than just going to an event and playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Like especially since I came back because like I wasn't able to go to all these events before. Like I did not have the money to do it. Like but like over like the years of like not playing, like I got extreme FOMO from seeing everyone going to all these events, and I'm like, wait, I can just go to these events now. Like I'm not a kid anymore. I can, that's like something I really look forward to when I was coming back.
I think we can all agree one of the best parts of this game is the travel. I love going to all these different cities for these YCSs, and next year we're looking to start going to some other countries. Would you say when you go to an out-of-country YCS, is it difficult with any language barriers or anything like that?
Yeah, I think there's some language barriers that definitely is like a small setback, But most of the time, they're going to have a judge that is able to translate. They're going to have people around that are able to translate, especially if you speak English as your first language. A lot of the countries that they are already speaking English, maybe not as their first language, but second language, and they're pretty good most of the time. But you just have to be able to be willing to like work with people and not get frustrated as easily, like when you're going to those events specifically, because they're trying just as hard to like express themselves like, but they might not do it the same way you do because obviously they're from a different place. But you kind of get used to it, and I think that goes for everyone as well. Like when we go out to like eat or something, like you're not gonna like be rude just because like they're not understanding like how you're saying things or like the way you're saying it. Like you're just gonna like be a decent person no matter what. So I think it goes along with that. But definitely is a little bit of a struggle for some people. But I think Yu-Gi-Oh in itself is its own language, so I think it's very easy to say certain words and like for people to understand.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I actually have a planned trip next year going to Japan, and one of my goals is to play in OCG locals tournament and see how.
Oh yeah, that would be insane. I want to play a YCS over there, but it's like best of one. I heard, and there's a lot. Like it would just be cool to do like once,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think every Yu-Gi-Oh player would love to be able to say they went to Japan. Definitely for Worlds, but even for locals would be just cool, or YCS.
Yeah.
Could you dispel a myth for everyone? There's kind of like a myth going on that these foreign events are easier than American events. Would you agree to that?
I think every place in the world has a different aspect to it that makes it more difficult. It's not like on the overall scale. I think certain places are harder to win than like other places, but specific places definitely have their strengths. And I'd say like when you go into like an event in South America, I think you have to worry about rogue decks, and I think that, like they probably have some of the best rogue players in the game because it's a consistent meta of rogue players. It might not all be like players that are playing rogue, but I think they consistently do it like to the point where they just have to have they might not be as good of players, but definitely have an advantage because they've been playing those types of decks for so long, and like going into a tournament where you're not used to that, I think definitely harder to win there. I think when you go to a place like Europe, like you have these players, like the average player may not be on the level. The average player may not be on like the normal like standard of like Yu-Gi-Oh player. I think like on the average, players are like tend to be better over there. I think they do take it more serious, but I think the top players in America, it's so hard, like not even just America, in North America, like you want to include everyone that like honestly from our side, because I think the top players in America are pretty tough to beat when it comes to like who are the best players in the game for the TCG. Obviously we are excluding OCG, but I think Europe has like obviously they have like great players, but I definitely think it's like the average player is better there, but then we have the top players in the game. And I think the average player is slightly worse here, but that's just my opinion, then again, because like other people have gone to all these countries and played, and it's been different for them. So, but I felt a little bit more of a struggle versus the average player in Europe when I've been playing recently.
Europe definitely has some insane players. You got Quincy,
you have Josh, Jessica, Josh. Like there's a lot of like players, especially the ones that come over here. Like Dinkham Fam, like everyone that comes over here, they consistently top American events too. You can definitely see like once you get to that top like 1% of like Yu-Gi-Oh players, it's like a different breed, of course. But I'm excited to see Australia.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I wish those plane tickets didn't cost as much as they did. We're looking at Costa Rica, but Australia, that sounds insane.
I was surprised because so last year I wanted to go, but I couldn't go because it was just like a lot. It was like $2,500. Like nobody's gonna spend like that in their right mind to fly to an event last minute. But this year it's not that bad. It's like half price. So I was thinking about I'm probably gonna go to that one. You want to be able to justify, like going to an event too. Like if something's just that ridiculous, you can't really do it. But since they announced it 3 months earlier than the event, Now this year it's a lot cheaper, but like last year I think they announced it, and it was like the start of the year too, like around New Year's, which made the price like go up like crazy because flying around that time, especially somewhere like that, is a lot of money.
So you've been to a lot of events. Obviously, everyone knows that you're a five-time YCS champion. Can you talk to us, like, what was your favorite ever YCS experience?
um, I think for myself, I've had a couple of good ones. Like playing in a tournament, I think for myself, winning France was definitely like my favorite like personal experience, but like watching Ruben, Kamal, and Pac win like the YCS together was definitely like my favorite like experience for some watching somebody else. Like there's so many good ones too, because like before that it was like watching Hani win, like his like that match versus Jesse like was insane. Like these moments just keep happening like in the like more recently as well too, which is nice.
Watching that moment, I was with a couple of friends, and we are all just like, "Honey, honey," just
Uh,
watching
the
them win in the hardest format.
Yeah, that was definitely nice too, especially because I had just won the week before. So like, it was just a wild moment, like getting to see Hani win right there.
He played that masterfully. He held that talents for just the right time, and when we saw it,
Yeah,
we were
he
like, "Oh
played
my
he played
god!"
insane. It was and that was a lot different than obviously like with my match. I played a week earlier. I played for Slender in the finals where like he bricked, like or like that's like a whole different match than what you watched like where it was Hani versus Jesse. Like that match was insane.
No, absolutely. I'm sure you're glad that fundraise player break though, huh?
Oh, 100%. You just have to hope they break.
Even now, like I'm playing Unchained, and one of the flu players I played at the last YCS I went to, he just bricked. He shifted me, but he had nothing else. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna kill you from here.
That's how I feel when I shift their people now, honestly. It's like most of the time they don't think I can do anything, but I
No, you
really
definitely
can't.
can. I'm sure if you're playing shifter, there's a good reason for you to play shifter. Even a deck like Pearly.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deal you can't deal with tier. Like that deck is just too puts up too much.
Yeah, that. Do you think Tier needs to get hit? Let's talk about that. Do you think
I
the
don't think
Shizu
tier
cards
needs to
need
get
time to
hit.
go?
I think that the Shizu cards need to go. For sure. They need to hit both Millers. I think the shufflers could go back to like three each. And that might sound crazy, but like you got to think about it this way: the ones that are the most broken are 100% the Millers, and the Millers are the reason why the shufflers are good. And like, if you're just playing a bunch of shufflers, like I get like the rank 4 engine might like is good, but then it just becomes a splashable engine that goes in like any deck, like because the level fours are inherently good, and like they
Yeah,
do
they
something
can.
in grave as well. Yeah.
The only way I can agree with that though is Kit stays banned. You think that should stay banned?
Yeah, Kit needs to stay banned because that's just one of the best extra deck cards ever made. Probably one of the best
Um,
fusions ever made, most impactful.
I absolutely agree. So you've been in this game a long time. You're kind of doing a lot of stuff now. We know that you're doing the coaching. You're on a team. You're doing the YouTube now. Uh, let's start with YouTube. How's that going for you?
It's going nice. I set out to do it without like any help from people. Like it's easy to collab. Like I wanted to do like natural collabs, like not like so I'm just like going and like trying to like clout chase where I get all these like followers that like I don't want. And I've been trying to keep my channel exclusively for like reporting content and like serious content. Like it might be a little bit easier to go out there and like make a video explaining some deck that like I don't really have any interest in like explaining, and I could probably get like 20,000 views on a video, but I really don't do it for that. It's more so to be educational and like have people think like how I think and what I would want to see, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that kind of goes a lot into the coaching. I know you're really big into that. How's that going for you?
The coaching's been going well. We have like a good amount of students, and I think like the classroom coaching definitely like stepped things up for people because they started seeing it as a lot more serious. But like realistically, the goal for the future is to have like a whole school essentially not really running itself, but just being able to like everyone to help each other, and like that's what it is, building the community. And if enough people want to do it and they get into it, like it definitely builds better Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Oh, I love that. Coaching, I think, is one of the best things that this game has to offer. We had a guest on the other day who got coaching from a pack, and his gameplay went from pretty average to now he's a very exceptional player. Uh, how are some of your students like post coaching? Like, what are the results looking like for them on average?
Well, we've had some students do really well at like YCSs like recently, and then like lose out day two. Consistently, like they'll come back. Like our students are on different levels as well, so like some will like not be doing too well at locals, and then like come back and like we had one win in OCS lately, two win in OCS lately, a couple top regionals. Like it varies. There's all different levels of people that are in the classrooms as well. So it definitely goes to show that like the different levels for sure. Like we
That's
literally go
really
from
important
locals to
too.
YCSs.
How do you balance it though? Being going all these different YCSs and coaching all the time.
I think that's just doing that, like committing to everything, instead of just committing to like, you know, like I'm not sitting there working like a normal job every day. Like I'm just committing to all these different tasks. I like to call them, I guess. Like when you look at coaching, when you look at keeping up with the game, like all of it, like it's pretty profitable. But at the end of the day, like it's more so. It's like I like what I'm doing. Like or else I just go get like a normal job and do that. You know.
So you're doing this exclusively then?
Yeah, because it's like I enjoy it. That's really what it is.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like the dream job. I'm sure a lot of players go eventually is get to your level where they can say, "Hey, I'm doing Yu-Gi-Oh full time."
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like around me bring that up more because like whenever like I'm in a situation out of like a Yu-Gi-Oh group, like I might be out like socializing or something, and then like my friends will bring it up saying like, "Yeah, he just plays Yu-Gi-Oh." It's like, well, yeah, but like I know I could be doing other stuff. Like I could be doing all these other things if I wanted to. It's more. I'm not like really like forced into doing it. You know, like it's just fun. Like most people like talking about it like from that point on because they hear about it and they're like, oh, really? Like it's like the most interesting in the world to them because they're like, wait, you get to travel everywhere and do something like playing a game. Like it's like what?
I think that's something that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players go through actually, where their friends are like, "Wait, you're going to Los Angeles? You're going to Las Vegas for what? Oh, for a car turn? Like, what's this all about? How many people into it? I had no idea." Hear that
Yeah,
all
and
the time.
I think that really like that perspective really changed for me once I started going to Europe because like I've been to four European events now, and like I had never been to Europe before I went for that event. The first event I went for was YCS Dortmund in Germany. Um, Seeing how many people were at that event specifically changed my whole perspective with the game. I was like, this is crazy. Like going to an event where they have 2,800 people or 2,500 people. I think it was around 2,700 in that area. But like anything like over 2,000 people is like a lot. Like that gather for something like that serious. It's a lot of people. You know, that's like a third of the people that entered like the main event for the WSOP in poker. So like and those are the tournament like the biggest tournaments of the year that they hold. So if you get in the numbers like that, it definitely makes me believe that this game's gonna be around for a long time.
Yeah, I think we can both agree that this game's going to be around for a long time. I remember in the 250th Los Angeles, we had 3,000 plus people there. That was an insane room.
Yeah, and there was 3,500 in London when I was there. So so we were in different places in the world, and they had just as many people they had there. Like it was crazy. I think there was like 10,000 people. I'm sorry, not 10,000. It was like 8,000 people playing at once, which was crazy.
That's next level.
Yeah.
I heard European YCSs are ran almost smoother than North American ones, but the Neuron for the parents, what was that experience like for you?
They both have their ups and downs. I won't say one is better than the
Yeah.
other because I think they both have some issues that like like the players will say stuff like because stuff isn't going their way for an event, but I kind of have better like general knowledge of like every event and the consistency of like these things that happen. So the first event I ever went to that was in Germany, we used Neuron. And on that like that whole event we used Neuron, and then it switched over after that. We started using a different website, and I think that's when it started becoming more. I'm not a fan of it in Europe. I think it should just be match slips, but I don't think they can do that because of how many people they have, and it's a lot more chaos. But if they did match slips, there wouldn't be any like like problems with like draws and people drawing intentionally. I think that's a big problem because at the end of the day, like you can just go and like say that what your result is instead of like the match actually like finishing, you know. And I see a small problem in that. But then in America, like I think they're a lot more organized on that for sure. Like the match slips, I wish I could just you know enter the tournament, enter my deck list on Neuron in America because it's a lot more smooth. It's a lot better than like entering your deck like how you normally do it now when you're pre-regging. Definitely a lot better of an interface. So that part is cool, but like they definitely have their ups and downs for sure.
Yeah, one of the things I like that America has started doing is the person that goes undefeated, they're giving them a giant prize card now. Is that
Yeah,
what's happening?
you get the prize card of the YCS card. This is like the best thing I've ever heard too. So like I just learned about this last event, and they're like, yeah, if you go undefeated, but you have to go undefeated. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just like added a whole another like crazy like prize like the prize pool, which is insane. Because I would keep it,
Yeah, because those things,
but those things probably sell for $5,000 though around that. Like
by selling cards to pay for trips, that could definitely do it.
yeah, for sure. Like if you're gonna get something like that, you can just sell it and make a bunch of money. But it would be something cool to have to go with like the YCS too if you wanted. It's like, but if I didn't win the YCS, I'd be like, all right, maybe I get rid of it.
So you've won 5 YCSs. Are any of those Shonen Jump championships included in that?
No, my first one was in 2012.
How would it feel to be the first player in the history of the game to win 6 YCS championships? How would that make you feel?
I think it would feel nice, but I think at this point, I think no matter how many more YCSs I win, I mean, I definitely wouldn't like be upset if I won more YCSs. But I think the real goal is definitely to like win Nats and win Worlds. I think that'll be more solidifying in my head than just winning another YCS because I think me and Jesse could literally go like all like for until the end of time and keep winning events. Like I genuinely think we're not going to be going anywhere for a while, so like it could just happen whenever. But outside of that, like I think it'd just be an okay feeling. Like I think winning Nats or winning Worlds would be a lot better because that's like kind of like what's eluded me from this point on or from this point.
Definitely love that approach to everything. Winning Nats or even winning the playoff tournament would get you your invite to Worlds. Have you been to Worlds yet?
I have not been to Worlds yet. So I took a big break from 2017 to 2021. And I also had like some rough years at Nats where like this was before points as well. Like I wasn't doing the points grind, and like I know a lot of people got to Worlds that way, and then like they did well at Worlds, which is nice. But I'm new to it. Like this was the first year where I had the chance to qualify off points. But I obviously had that mishap with my deck list. So we're just working on getting in through points again. I'm like 5th right now.
I think you'll definitely, if you keep going the route that you're going, get into the World's playoffs grind again. Do you feel like you need to win regionals at your level currently with how many YCSs you top?
Yeah, I would say so. Like I'm definitely doing both. I think it's only just a slight advantage that I've had like to consistently do well at North American YCSs. Like I topped the last 3. I think there's only been 3. But like obviously like South America and Central America count as well. So you have to do like I think you just have to consistently do like because of how many people are grinding regionals and how many people are going to get in from the regional grind, and then how many people are just going to randomly get in because of how many like YCSs they topped during the year. You have to like look out for that and definitely be ready because like it's not like last year. Last year was a lot easier, so I'm not going to stop grinding until like I'm almost like solidified like in the top 16 because like I could literally just have somebody get like 64 points at one event and like pass me like, and that could happen consistently. So you got to keep playing. I think for sure. Like I'm at 228 for points and I'm not even comfortable at all.
How many points did you have last year? Like for perspective,
I had 245. But the thing is that it was 16 people were already in from the year before, the 3 years before. So. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit different. It was a lot easier. The people that are grinding for points like were already in. So like a whole different group of people like get into that spot.
So when you prepare for an event, what goes through your mind? How do you actually prepare for a YCS versus say a regional?
Um, well, I'm around like my testing group a lot, so we're pretty much just grinding nonstop. Um, but for a regional, like we could just like show up and like if we played a deck at a YCS before, like we'll probably just play that same list or a similar list, and we'll change some cards. Like it's not we don't prep for a regional that much. I mean, it's more so just like the social gathering and like we're obviously going for worlds points, but it's a lot more relaxed. And then for like a YCS, like obviously everyone's taking it serious because it's everyone's trying to win, you know. But in a regional, we're not really out there to like we want to win, but it's not that big of a deal.
Can't wait to one day be able to be on that level and say, yeah, I'm just prepping for a YCS, no biggie.
Yeah, because that's essentially what it is. I mean, like, or just prepping to like get into worlds, and like that's like why we're at the regionals. Now we can like take them serious without it being like, all right, now we're just not playing for anything, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. Uh, Kind of a lot like what you said when you go to South American places. You got to prepare for what you're not prepared for. I'd imagine that'd be pretty hard for you. So currently you're on Team Planeta, correct?
Yep, Team Planeta.
What's going on with that? What's that team all about?
Well, it's a team based in Mexico. They do have a store. If you guys want to check them out. But no, it's just a group of really nice guys that we wanted to do business together. I feel like it definitely gives me like joining a team definitely like motivates me to like want to do well and like spread the brand, of course. And then like it was just me on the team at first, and then Patrick had joined as well, so that was nice. Like having somebody on the team, but I think I've been more focused on definitely like with coaching that like I haven't it hasn't been as much of me like going out there and representing like certain like brands or like doing like what I want. It's definitely been all about like representing everyone else's brands like lately, which has been crazy enough because like work with like a few different sponsors as well.
Tell me about the charity tournament. I see that you and Patrick are going to be what in a Dunkin' booths, and people
We're,
have the
yeah,
chance
we're,
to dunk you.
we're going to be in the dunk tank. Yeah. So the charity tournament, Prodigy Games is hosting a charity tournament. It's going to be insane. Like the prizing alone is going to bring a lot of people out, but I think it's more so obviously for like the cause, and like having these tournaments is definitely very essential when you like when you're in a community like this, because you want to like keep the good faith in the community. Like it's kind of upsetting to hear stories of all like the bad stuff that like does happen, people getting their stuff stolen, that's never fun. But then you have on the flip side, you have like people that come together and bring like organize these tournaments, and strictly just to help other people, which is really nice, of course, around Christmas time too. But definitely going to be a lot of exciting stuff. Me and Pat getting in a dunk tank. They're doing a hot dog eating contest. And it's a 2-day event as well. They just added another day for like another crazy prize, which is insane. I think they're giving out definitely a lot of stuff that weekend, so it'll be a lot of fun.
I love that. What charity is it going to go for?
That I do not know yet, but normally they announce that at the start of the day on Saturday. And they'll do this big announcement, and everything is going to be recorded too. And the TCG fandom group is going to be going out there to record it, so it's going to look nice, all official, and definitely have like hopefully a big impact from it. I think that's what like they're really trying to do is like to motivate others to do like something similar. I know I have a bunch of friends that do streams all the time, like for charity. And I'm always down to fly out for like a tournament like this, but I'm already out here, of course, so it definitely helped out. But
Do you know who the announcers are going to be? Are y'all going to have announcers?
I do not. I do not know. But normally that stuff will be announced like coming up to it. But I'm definitely going to be playing in those tournaments for sure. Those are going to be some cool tournaments to play. I'm excited because there's an Edison tournament on Sunday as well, and I never get to play Edison tournaments, so that'll be fun.
So we talked a lot about what you did in 2023. I know you're looking at going in YCS Bologna. What are your plans for 2024?
Definitely my biggest goal would be to win Nats. Like obviously I want to win Worlds, but I want to. I've always kind of myself thought that winning US Nats is harder than winning Worlds. Like because you could qualify off of some like some maybe some BS, but like, or you could just do really well in Nats and then just like not win the event and then like win Worlds. That's also cool. But at the end of the day, like I feel like the hardest tournament to win is U.S. Nationals. And I think Europeans will also think the same about Euros instead of like Worlds. Like I don't think I think it's definitely more elusive and like more of an exclusive club to like be a part of the World Championship every year. But the hardest tournament realistically has to be the biggest one of the year, and that's where everyone's trying their hearts out to go to Worlds.
And Nationals was a very, very hard day. I was one curve car away from day 2, and I wish I could have done that myself.
Yeah.
So what? So when you I had to talk about this. So after you got your 5th YCS win, you changed your profile picture to having the 5 rings, right? Did you know that our sponsor, Preston, was the one that actually made that picture?
No, that's crazy. I did not. No, I love that. I love that picture so much. Yeah,
Hopefully,
now that picture
can make you the 6th ring one when that comes out.
Yeah, that'd be nice. The one with Tom Brady, where he's holding the 6th one. It's so funny.
Yeah,
yeah. No, that's great because like my whole family loved that too, because like they're all from Boston, so it was great.
Fan.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Pats fan. It's hard for basketball nowadays because I'm in Florida a lot, so I have to like all these different teams now. Yeah, we got the Heat, but I'm also a Celtics fan, so it's like it's tough.
Yeah, I can relate. I'm a Saints fan, obviously, being from Louisiana, and that unfortunately means I'm also a Pelicans fan. So it's been a rough couple years for us.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, man?
A little bit of I play a couple of other games. Just a little bit of Hearthstone, a little bit of poker. Outside of that, just like hanging out like with people, friends, like going places. Like that's a pretty big hobby in itself. I think like when you travel, like a lot of the time you're just spending your time doing stuff like seeing stuff that you haven't seen before with your friends, and that takes up a lot of time for sure.
Yeah, with the poker, is that a new thing for you? Is that something you've been into for a while?
I started playing when I was 18. Corey got me into it a while back, and like ever since then, I played here and there. I've done fairly well like, over the past like few years. I was playing pretty heavy during COVID, but definitely something I can jump into whenever, which is nice. And like I don't really feel the pressure to have to play for too long or like do like consistently do it. Like you can just jump in, and it's something like you don't have to do again after that. It's you being in control of that is nice. Like for Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like all right, you kind of have to like commit if you're gonna play. You're not gonna just half-ass it.
Right. Poker's a hard game. I tried playing it a couple of times. I like blackjack personally, but poker, that's a rough one.
Yeah, poker, it's all about the mental, of course, and I like to translate a lot from Yu-Gi-Oh. Obviously, I look at it myself as very, very comparable, but a lot of people like fail to see it that way. But it's not about the game. Obviously, it's all about the mental and like your opponent and that aspect of it.
Sure, that probably helps your mental game with Yu-Gi-Oh too.
Yeah, it's definitely started with Yu-Gi-Oh and then like transitioned to poker, and then I started like mixing the two together and like starting to read people better, and like it's a whole different vibe if you do both, because I can sit there and play with like 1,000 people over the time I played poker, and then like have all these different faces, and like you have all that experience just like stocking up.
Oh, for sure. One of my favorite things about you, you have the Millennium Eye tat on your hand where you do the picture every time you're on the YCS stream. Is that your favorite tattoo that you have?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be one of them for sure. The scale and the eye are my two favorite.
Who does all your tattoos, or do you have like?
I've had a bunch of different artists do it. Like I've had some like artists that do like really serious work and like they charge a lot, and then I've had some other artists that like they just meant a lot to me, like that they were doing it, and I've had some artists like some friends that have done some work. It changes all the time. That's really what I wanted to make it, not just like specifically one person, like like a bunch of different people's work. So
I love that. And do you have anything you want to talk about that's going on besides the charity event that you want to shout out?
Um, yeah, mainly shout out Learn TCG. I think specifically, like, our website recently has like dropped, obviously, but at the end of the day, like, I think it's more so about the personal experience you get from like the one-on-one coaching, and like, you know, I'm not really there to tell you that you're not going to make it, or like you kind of have to come in with that mentality, like, you know what I mean? Like, unless you're just like absolutely not trying to take the game seriously, I would give it a shot. To all new people out there. But if you are trying to take it serious, like, that's all like we thrive on doing. So
Yeah, I'm sure the results speak for themselves.
definitely a lot of results recently, from it being like, because we recently merged the classroom together. At first, like, it was individual classrooms we were doing. It was either me in the classroom or Hani, but then once we merged it together, it became a lot more beneficial for everyone, and everyone started learning at like a better pace, because, like, Hani might say one thing and then I'll say one thing, like bouncing off of that. So it definitely like creates this nice community for you to like continue learning.
One thing I actually love about that, Hani was one of the main founders of Learn TCG, right?
Yes.
One thing I love about that, it's like we had Metafy for so long, but it's almost like it's not for the players. And then Hani comes out, he's
It's
like,
really
"Hey, I have
not.
this great idea. Yeah, let's take control of this and really make a platform to help players become the best version of themselves, like for the players, by the players." It almost feels like.
Yeah, no, we were floating with the idea for a while, like, on different levels. Like, we both had a similar idea where we wanted to do it. Like, he had his incorporations with like the classroom idea, because that was a very big part of it. And like things just started working from there, and like we're obviously building it from here on out. Like, we had to start somewhere, and like this is where we're at.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I love that. Anyone out there who wants to become better at the game, definitely go to Learn TCG, get some coaching, go to the classrooms. I promise you, it'll make you better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Christopher LeBlanc. I want to thank him for joining us today. If you haven't already, please check out our socials. We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube Shorts. All the links will be in the description down below. With that being said, thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Peace out.